Here.
Moore.
Here.
Zimmers.
Here.
That is 7 present.
All right, thank you. President's comments, public comments will occur during the public comments portion of the meeting. If you are interested in addressing the board, fill out the required public participation at board meetings form and submit to Ms. Mitchell in the front row. I'm going to make a couple comments, but I'm going to leave, we went on the Illinois School Board Conference, a handful of us up in Chicago. It was great. I know I'm going to let Mr. Zimmers talk about our school tour, but had a great time, learned a lot. I think all of us took something away from it, and I always believe if you go to a conference, at least take one thing away. But it's great to get the ideas here from people all over the state. So it's really good, kind of get us going, ready for, try to bring new ideas back to the district. But no, it was good, and then I'm going to give my own self a plug here, or actually Mr. Flamini. There's a tournament going on in town on the north side at Lanphier High School, and Mr. Flamini will be recognized Wednesday night. So I'm excited for that. So, so if you guys can show up. So thank you again, and I'm going to start with board salutes. Mr. Flamini.
None.
None? Okay.
No.
Ms. Johnson.
Mrs. Gills, I'll tell you where I was on last Thursday.
I tell you, I do want to do it, Ms. Salute. You, fellow board member that has organized this tournament, and you've really done a nice job. It's rapidly becoming one of the best tournaments in the state of Illinois.
Well, thank you, sir. She's going to report your.
She's going to get my report, yes.
For Thursday night?
Did you forget where
Whatever the name of it was, I don't even know what it
Did you
was.
forget where you're at last Thursday?
I'll bring it up in my shout-outs then a little bit later.
All right. Mr. Zimmers.
Yeah, he asked me to talk about one of our school visit that we made while we were at the school board convention. We went to a school called Chicago Arts High School, and it's a public fine arts high school, which just struck a nerve with me because I've been thinking about this for a long time about we have so many talented kids in the school district, and not that their needs are not being met at our high schools. I mean, they are. We have some fantastic instructors in the fine arts programs in all the high schools and middle schools and throughout the district. But this was kind of unique. They had about 600 students there. Their school day is from 8 in the morning till 5 in the evening. They go to academic school from 8 to 1:45. They get a little 15-minute break, and then they do their fine arts curriculum between 2 and 5 o'clock, whether it be dance, vocal music, orchestra, band, visual arts.
Creative writing even.
Creative writing, I had a variety of things, and these kids come from all over the city of Chicago. It's a very diverse population, and it's kind of good to see these things, just to kind of, because you always walk out with ideas, the possibilities of what it could be like if we tried to do something like that here, and so it was a good trip. Glad we went.
No, it was a very good trip and very enlightening, and it's good to meet other board members. And I got to sit in on a session for the proposed school funding, and so we'll see where that goes.
I'd just like to reiterate what Mr. Flamini said again. Thank you for bringing that tournament to the north side. And the local talent that'll be there is going to be something to see.
Yes, thank you. All right, we're going to move to 4.1, old business.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mrs. Gill, for giving us the achievement report. Last time we appreciated that. I do have a couple of follow-up questions for you. You related the SMART goals that you and your staff have set. I'd like to understand how that's factored into the evaluation process. It's clear to me that part of our evaluation of teachers includes a growth component. How are these goals, how are we holding others than teachers accountable for meeting these goals?
Certainly, we have a student learning objective process that we utilize. So all of our administrative evaluations. Is that what you're talking about, or teacher evaluations, or both?
I understand the
or-
teacher piece. I
Okay,
want to
good.
understand the administrative
Yeah,
piece.
we also have to write student learning objectives as a part, and actually, this year is the year that all of those student learning objectives count, so that 30% growth actually count in evaluations for the first time this calendar year as a part of the new, it's not really new now, but the progression of the para law that was put into place, the Performance Evaluation Review Act. So 70% is on professional practice, and 30% is based on student growth. So the principals actually have to write student learning objectives just as the teachers do, and they can either do their entire school or they can do a subset of their school, but they have to write 3 professional goals and then also do a SLO as well that are evaluated, and it flows into and is a part of their summative evaluation that's due at the end of every year.
And so these SMART goals tied back into that.
Right, so the 3 main goals that they write have to address the Illinois Leader Standards, but they also have to relate back to one of the 3 SMART goals that they put forth, because those are what drive our whole in-school improvement process, so that tie back directly to the district improvement process. So you hope that there's a through line with all of that work, and the SLOs are usually written on literacy and mathematics, so that would directly tie back to both SMART Goal 1 and SMART Goal 2. So it's kind of an intricate process. We have a whole info system component that we built so that they can add those in and that we can keep track of them, so that it's not just a bunch of paper, it's actually easy to track and easy to monitor.
Okay.
So,
I had one other.
Sure.
Okay. You presented some data about attendance and absenteeism for students. Have we taken a look at absenteeism, how much we're pulling teachers, administrators out of the buildings? I know, Mr. Lopez, you brought this up before, but it seems to me if that's a benchmark that we're looking at for student success, having the teachers and the principals in their buildings doing the jobs that we've asked them to do is just as important. So do you have information on that? Can you provide us with that?
I can provide information on that, about how many professional development days we have, like by teacher. Most definitely can do that. It's kind of a give and take. It was interesting when we went to the Chicago Arts High School. So the teachers work from 8 o'clock until 2:30. They teach their core classes. Every single day, they have an hour at the end of the day where they're still paid, where they do professional development and work around. And so we have 1 hour a week right now where it's built into their day, and that's not including their personal prep. They still get that, during their morning hours. Our schedule has always been kind of set up to have, it's difficult to do professional development during the school week. And so pulling them out and doing some of the symposium work, but then part of the absenteeism that you see too is just people using their natural days that they have given within their.
I understand that. I'm not looking at
Okay.
those days. I mean, I know people get sick, people have sick kids, all that. I get that. But I'm talking about the days
Days
we
we
take
pull them out. Sure.
the teachers out, because I hear that constantly. Just let us stay in our buildings and teach.
Okay.
And I just want to understand how many days, how has that progressed over the years, and how does that's got to factor in. I mean, if we care about kids being in the classroom, we must care too about teachers being in the classroom. So I just would like to understand that. Thank you.
Well, let me ask this, because I think this is part of the purpose. They're only out Wednesday days, and we decreased the number of days we're taking people out because of,
The days we have off school, you mean?
yes. Well, because I think you have less symposiums than you used to have, right? We used to have them monthly, and you have them, once a quarter now? So, and I get what you're asking. Maybe that's something we could be provided, because it appears to me that teachers are out less, and they should be. That's part of the reason that we did this early out Wednesday. And so if we could see those figures, yeah, I mean.
I'd like to say, I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe they are
Yeah,
out less, but-
I can definitely look at it for you, that's no
And
problem.
it'd be good to have a comparison.
Where we were a few years ago to where we are now. Yeah.
That's great.
Professional development is such, I'm sorry to interrupt, professional development is such a key piece though too, with everything that's kind of changed at the state and national level, really, with the way education and ESSA is not going to make it any easier on us, and just time for teachers to talk and work through new curriculum is important as well.
Well, and when you go
Sorry,
other
Mr.
places and talk to other school districts and board members, this is some of the things we find out when we go to these, is that our teachers really do get top-notch professional development here as compared to other places. A lot of school districts wish they had what our teachers get. and feel like the days they're pulled out are not being that productive. I think our days normally are, professional PD days for teachers, because, we have people on staff that coordinate those and set them up. And, people kind of envy this district because of the PD we have, I think. But it'd be good to see the figures still, how much that's reduced since we started.
I think it's better. I know at the high school level, you had staffs of 100 teachers in a building, and you get in the dead of winter, flu season, and ice cubes outside everywhere. You'll see when there's a good workshop and teachers are gone, you'll see sometimes as many as 15 plus teachers. It's tough, and it's hard to find subs today. But you have to weigh that against what they're getting, and what they're getting is very valuable, though. But make everybody get a flu shot.
That's a different issue. We will definitely get you that data. That's not a problem, and do a comparison.
Thanks for bringing that up. All right. Any more old business? All right. Moving on to new business, 4.2. Anybody have new business? All right, hearing none. Student business.
We had our last roundtable meeting last Wednesday, and I think it was a pretty successful meeting. We started the meeting, we talked about the principal visits that we had the last meeting, and we kind of put a little bit more onto that and about how we were going to get the principals more involved and get our information to them and what we talked about. And then we discussed the middle school visits that we went on a few weeks ago. And the middle school that I went to Jefferson, and each of the schools did their middle school visits differently. Some of them were on announcements, some talked to big groups, some talked to small groups. Specifically at Jefferson, there were 3 of us, and we were in the library, and they sent about 40 students at a time, and there was 5 groups. And how we went off of that was we had a list of key topics, and from the beginning, the students were kind of shy and didn't really have many questions, so we kind of just went down the list and talked about some key things that we thought that they needed to know, gave a little bit of our opinion, talked about what maybe we were scared of going into high school. And towards the end, there wasn't very many questions, but I think that they all left knowing a lot more than they did before. And as all 3 of us being AP students, we made that kind of a big idea to talk about and explained exactly what that was and the opportunities that they had as freshmen and AP classes. And I just think it was a really good experience because I liked talking to them and maybe getting a little bit of their fears out of the way because we brought some of the things to reality. Like one of the girls that was in my group, her biggest fear of high school, she said, was the big scary seniors. And so we brought that up and kind of brought the truth to them. And one of the most asked questions was about lunch, and the question was, oh, you guys get to leave for lunch, and so we kind of had to crush their dreams with that, but I think it was a pretty fun visit, and it was a fun opportunity to be able to talk to them. Also at our meeting, we talked about Unity Day, which is progressing really smoothly. We're working on our grant right now, and the biggest part of that is figuring out how many people we're going to have. And we had figured out that the groups that we're going to invite this year are going to be kind of the community-based groups because we want our Unity Day to be community service-based. So groups like student government, NHS. So I know personally at Lanphier I've been working on getting names of people in student government and NHS and seeing if they want to come because we're going to see the number of people that are interested in coming and then closer to the day hand out tickets so maybe it'll help us have a closer number on hand. And also we haven't completely figured out what community service we're going to do, but we know that we're going to do something like that. And someone brought up the idea of maybe making baskets or something along those lines, but we still have to completely get it together once we have figured out our number, and then we can figure out what we're going to be able to do.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. All right. We have a presentation of the board. Ms. Gill?
Okay, Mr. Frost, I'll ask you to come up with your leadership team. We have members of the Ball Charter in the crowd. You want to raise your hand? Hello, everybody. Yeah, I got a lot of ball charter out there. Welcome, thank you for coming, and you have you're going to pull up his presentation there. So annually, as a part of our agreement, you report to the Board of Education on the achievement of ball charter, much like I reported last week on the state of the district. So welcome tonight. We're looking forward to hearing your presentation.
Yeah, we want to thank everybody for the time. And again, as Mrs. Gill said, this is part of our charter agreement, is to annually give an update on how things are going at the charter school and answering questions that you might have. So the first couple of slides you'll see are our current board of directors and our instructional leadership team. One of our current board of directors is in the room tonight. Mr. Tippy is our vice president this year. And also, Ms. Boozer is in the house as well, and she is our representative from the 186 team. So we also are represented by some of our instructional leadership team, and those folks are integral in the work that we do to make sure that we continue to improve in the things that we're doing to serve students. The first thing I wanted to show you as well are the mission and the vision of the school. The mission and the vision help drive the actions of our board of directors, help drive the action of our instructional leadership team, and as well, then the teachers in the classrooms as well. We, the students and the staff, recite our vision every morning as part of our morning meeting to make sure that that even then kind of leads into the actions of the kids when they're in the building to make sure that they are part of the success as well. Some of the things that we have to offer is a unique opportunity for families. Again, reminder that we are founded on 4 pillars in our charter agreement, one of those being multi-age education opportunities for students, a focus on literacy and numeracy, and then finally some professional development, again, that kind of tags along with the conversation you had just a minute ago, making sure that our staff is well prepared to deliver quality instruction. So what I've listed in this slide are just some things that we offer for our students and families, different activities. Obviously, as a school of choice in the district, we have a lot of parent engagement. The families have sought out our school as an option and opportunity for their family, and so we try to do as much as we can to keep them involved in the school life. Again, because we are not necessarily in a neighborhood and we pull from all over the city, we find that it's important to make sure that we are offering them opportunities to stay involved in what we're doing at school to keep that connection strong. So there's just several opportunities that we have for our students and our families before and after school. We also then wanted to look at some of the academic achievement. Obviously, all of those activities and the fact that we are a school of choice help to improve and increase achievement as we go through things. So what I provided for you tonight is, first of all, just a look at our parks trends. This is the one consistent assessment that we use with the other buildings in the district. As far as our school level assessments, we use some different tools, so I wanted to provide some numbers to give you just some comparisons and some things that you've seen previously as to how those scores look. So what you'll see is our overall 3rd through 8th grade score here, and the 15-16 score. Then I also looked at the elementary and the middle levels individually, and we are looking in most of those areas at some significant growth. We did see a little bit of a drop in our middle level English language arts, and part of that reason, as we looked into the data a little bit, is that last year in the 2015 scores, an 8th grade class that is now in high school, they scored at about a 70% meet and exceeds rate. So that kind of outlier score is a lot of the reason for that drop. But again, still performing very strongly across the board. And then we looked at some of the subgroups as well, because we want to make sure that we're addressing the needs of all of our students that come to us. We have a very diverse population that very much mirrors the city of Springfield because we pull from all the neighborhoods in town. So you'll see there on this slide the percentage of students that meet and exceed with those subgroups, and then in the parentheses you'll see the gap of achievement. So for instance, the 2016, 28% of our low-income students meet and exceed. That is a 12% gap between those students that are not low income. And so those numbers are, again, provided for us from the PARC test. And so it gives us some things to look at as far as how those subgroups are performing. We were happy to see some improvement in 2 of those 3 areas. And then also, are they performing at the same rate or better than their peers that do not fit into those subgroup categories? Okay. The next thing we looked at is some longitudinal things. And so are the students that were in the same grade last year still performing at or better than they did the first time they took the test? So this is split into looking at that same cohort of students from the first year they took the PARCC test to the second year they took the PARCC test. And again, in almost all of these areas, you'll see that we saw some growth. So we were very excited about that. It also gives us some places to look for specific groups of students that may need a little extra support. And as we look at adding some support to their day, we can make sure that we're targeting the right area as well. Next, you'll see some of the goals that we've set for our school this year. These things are, again, based on our charter agreement and looking at numeracy and literacy as some of our strong points. We also have been very lucky to be involved in some of the training that was offered this summer on the braided approach to behavior. And so we've made some goals in that area as well for our students and our staff. We've been able to kind of revamp our process and our plan for classroom management and giving kids some opportunities to correct behavior themselves and give them some chances to be able to stay in the classroom more, which will hopefully, again, lead to improvements in that achievement. So, some more specifics on that piece. When we looked at some of the things we wanted to add, again, we altered the process a little bit by adding a think sheet and a safe seat in the classroom to remove situations from the students' day where they were taking away learning from themselves and others. Also then gave us a chance to look at that tool and to see if we were getting the results we wanted. And so if you look at the bottom of this slide, you'll see that from the first month where we were able to collect a month's worth of data in September to the October numbers, we saw a significant decrease in the number of students needing that intervention in the classroom. So, you know, again, what we read into that is that it's working and the students are able to do some more self-monitoring, and the majority of our students did not even need that intervention in the classroom, so we thought that was a big success. We've also seen that a drop in the number of student referrals that have come through as well, and to date we've had one suspension. So a lot of positives there as well with the work the staff has really done to help train the kids in this process, to give the kids the chance, and they are again, taking the time to make sure that this is a worthwhile piece to that new system. And then, as far as any changes that we've made to what we've done at the program, we were able to add some time to our middle level schedule. Our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade is our middle level. We were able to take a little bit of time off, 2 minutes actually, off of each class, reduce the passing time, and we were able to carve out another hour for some enrichment and some intervention. So again, looking then at our data, we're able to target specific needs of kids and offer classes to help that. We also were able then to take our IMSA program, which had suffered because of after-school activities that were pulling kids in many directions, and make that a class during that time. So those students are able to have that opportunity again for enrichment. And so we've been able to see some benefits with that as well. Our music teacher was able to receive a grant from the Springfield Public Schools Foundations for ukulele, so they've got a cool new program. All of our middle level students that go through the music class are learning to play that instrument. It's been very fun to watch. He also was talking to me the other day about the lack of discipline that's going on in the room, and he thinks a lot of that is because of the engagement in that instrument. So that's been really cool to watch. I was in there the other day and they were strumming along to a Beatles tune. It was pretty cool stuff. So that's been a really cool addition to what we have to offer our kids as well. Again, we've added that behavior intervention before referrals, which we think has made a drastic difference in just kind of the overall climate and feeling of the school. And we've been able to also add some personnel to help with the math support. We've had for years some literacy support in the building. We're able to add some math support as well, knowing that that's something that we're going to need to continue to help our students with to become more successful. And then the last piece here again, because this is one of our foundations as far as the agreement, is making sure that we've got staff that are well trained. And so you'll see up there, this is just from the beginning of this school year, all of these things. You'll see the literacy and the math component, as well as some specific content area for those teachers that need that. And we've also looked at some of our special ed training to make sure that we are well versed in that and there are also some leadership pieces there. So again, a wide variety. We try to make sure that staff are as up to date as possible, and that way they can deliver better instruction for our students. So that's what we have as a quick overview. I wanted to leave some time for some questions. We had some student interviews that were taped, but technologically we couldn't get them to you because of we think we're blaming the Dells. So if you want, I will try and get those sent to you so you can get some student response as far as kind of their experience at the school. But if you've got questions, we'd be glad to answer them.
Do the student interviews include the ukulele playing?
They don't, but I can get you some video of that very easily. Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff.
Do you feel like the addition of the safe seat has really made an impact?
I do, and I think not only just in the numbers, which is something we can celebrate, but I really think that it has made a difference in the students knowing that they've got a chance to get corrected in the classroom without having to get sent out. And I think that we've seen, again, just some change in the student demeanor, knowing that they've got that as kind of a check on their own behavior, and they make some corrections then on their own.
So at this time, you don't use the buddy room, you're
Correct.
using the safe seat.
Correct.
And are you having a conversation once they go to the safe seat about the behavior?
Yeah, because once that conversation happens with the teacher, then that's when they're invited back to join the whole group, so. Yeah. Absolutely.
Thank you. That's great.
Absolutely. Thank you guys very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We'll turn over to Ms. Gill, 6.1.
Okay, our treasurer report. Mr. Vasco's on vacation, so thanks for coming.
Thank you, President Lopez, members of the board. The district ended the month of October with a cash balance of $27.4 million in the bank for all funds. Interest for the month of October was $27,161, and earnings year-to-date on interest just over $83,000. Joe has also included a schedule of investments showing total investments of $33.5 million at October 31st.
No payment from last year yet?
No payment for yet.
All right. Turn over to the boss lady, Ms.
right.
Gill, 7.1.
Well, I do have some shout-outs. So what Board Member Johnson was talking about earlier, we attended the Public School Foundation, had a thank you event. Our teachers are out there in the classroom thinking out of the box every day, and they can write for grants and for classroom libraries and for innovative classroom grants, and the foundation funds those. So they had an opportunity to kind of have their grants on display, and they made some really nice poster boards. They had some nice dinner. We had it at Memorial Innovation Center. So the foundation hosted a little reception to say thank you. Again, they've already given them the grant money, but they were thanking them again for kind of their stepping out and taking chances to write a grant. And we had a presentation from Du Bois Elementary School on the STEAM grants that they wrote, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. It was very well received. So we just wanted to say thank you to the foundation for putting on that event and making teachers a priority in our district for the funding. We had a great kind of an opportunity this year. Mr. Lopez, you had talked to Don Gray somewhere.
Yes.
And then he reached out to the district. He's a Sangamon County clerk, and his director of elections, Stacy Kern, set up an opportunity for 30 of our senior level government students to do election judge work during the season. So yeah, did you get to go? All right. How was your experience? Interesting?
It was an interesting experience. It was a really long day.
Yeah, it is.
I ended up spending 17 hours there.
Wow. That's a
long day.
That's
But it was
good.
really interesting. I learned a lot and got to see a lot of different people. Everyone was really nice.
Yeah. And they had to write out applications, and then they got chosen, and they only had 30 spots, but we filled every single spot across the various sites across Springfield. So we gave them a day off, but then they came back, and I'm sure you had to explain to the government class what you did that day. Yeah.
I also got to experience and realize that at the end of the day, I realized that not only are high schoolers having trouble with filling in bubbles, but grown adults are as well.
So, we also had a great experience on Veterans Day at the Veterans Day Parade. All 3 of our bands performed, and they did an excellent job. And thanks to the photography of Mr. Gilmore, who can capture long strides of band members, we've been able to show them on the banner over the last week. thank you, Nalo, for getting those put up on the website. But it was really cool to see all three of them performing and honoring our veterans here in Springfield. We have a big shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Shanklin and the Andre Iguodala Youth Foundation for sponsoring the 11th annual Thanksgiving turkey giveaway that there was this past weekend. Over 300 families here in our district, as well as throughout the community, received a Thanksgiving dinner basket with all the fixings, thanks to the continuous generosity of the Andre Iguodala Youth Foundation. And a lot of thanks to those in our school district who went and helped put all of those baskets together. We had Lincoln Magnet School girls and boys basketball teams at Southeast, and the Lanphier High School boys basketball team. They helped and volunteered, not only setting them up, but in passing them out last weekend, so it was a great day. Horace Mann honored the district teachers during American Education Week with the theme of Poppin' with Excitement for Educators, and they passed out popcorn to all the district schools last week. And then also, Cherry Hills Baptist is always great about reaching out and sending out warm cherry pies, and we all know we rush down to the lounge or the back table here to get a slice of that. So just thank you for the community again, who's always ready and willing to reach out and say thank you to our teachers and our staff who are working so hard in the schools each day. The Boys and Girls Club of Central Illinois sponsored a mobile food pantry at Matheny-Withrow this past week, and the mobile pantry provided healthy food items for our families and community members. And we also had the John Gaston's Martial Arts Academy providing over 100 Thanksgiving baskets for families here in our district as well. So this time of year with thanks, there's a lot of things to be thankful for, and just to give you an opportunity to share a few of those is amazing this time of year. I get a lot of invitations to turkey dinners, which I'm going to take them up on the next 2 days. Just one little thing on technology. I try to update you small amounts throughout the school year about our technology plan. But a big important piece of that was we finished all of our wiring projects across the district, and we have received our E-rate dollars, and we will be putting in the access points beginning really next week and throughout over Christmas break. The best time to get in the classrooms to do that is when the kids are out. So we'll have some opportunity this week and into the holiday break to get those done. Our goal is to make sure that there's an access point in every classroom space before the park exam. We do have a cost to the district of $49,930, but the overall cost is $315,000. So we're getting quite a bit of money back from E-rate to do this work, and I just thank the technology department for kind of staying on top of how we can maximize our dollars for E-rate. We do utilize an E-rate consultant that's approved by the board to help us be able to know and understand all the right words and everything to fill those in. So that's just an update on the infrastructure side of the technology report. Did anybody have any further questions for me this evening?
That's good. Yep. All right, moving right along. Move to 8.1, approval of consent action items. Ms. Gill.
Okay. President Lopez and members of the board, I recommend approval of consent action items 8.2 through 8.5 as described in the corresponding resolutions.
Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Discussion.
I have a question.
Yes.
8.5, what is, we provide somebody a blessed sacrament?
Yes, we, as a part of like a proportionate share that we have to follow, they actually write the proposal for the professional development that they choose to have at their school, and then we fund it, but it has to go through the board since it's a federal flow-through process.
Title $2.
Title $2, yes. The proportionate shares are out of Title II, Title I, and also our IDEA special needs monies that are federal dollars. So we pay for those in essence, but it's their proportionate share for our community.
Okay. I'm going to call for a vote.
Funderburg.
Aye.
Hanley.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Lopez.
Aye.
Moore.
I
Zip.
abstain on 8.5.
Okay, thank you. Zimmers.
Aye.
Flamini.
Aye.
That is 7 aye votes with the noted abstention on 8.5.
Thank you. 9.1, Ms. Gill.
Mrs. Sherman is also out of town today, so we have Mr. Sanders reading the personnel recommendations this evening.
President Lopez and members of the board, the superintendent recommends the personnel recommendations as presented.
Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none?
Handley,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lopez,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
Flamini.
Aye.
Funderburg.
Aye.
That is 7 aye votes.
All right. 9.2 will be tabled. It will be tabled. Any questions will be directed right at Ms. Gill, and I hope any board members direct those, the press that want to ask questions to Ms. Gill. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Gill. All right. 9.3.
Okay, President Lopez, members of the board, it is my recommendation that 2 8th grade students be hereby expelled from further attendance at Franklin Middle School through the end of the 2016-2017 school year with a program.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Discussion? Hearing none? Vote.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lopez,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Zimmers.
Aye.
Flamini.
Aye.
Funderburg.
Aye.
Handley.
Aye.
That is 7 aye votes.
Thank you. Next regular meeting will be Monday, December 5th, here in the board office at 5:30. We're done.
I thought he was going because the election, but I don't know why you do it tonight.
Yes.